Instant match reaction. I don't really know what to say, to be honest with you. I would like to just sit here in absolute silence for the next 10 minutes, but it wouldn't be a very interesting video. Everton 1, Liverpool 4 at Goodison Park. I think that's the biggest home derby defeat in history. And considering I think a lot of Evertonians expected Everton to be beaten and beaten quite comfortably today, considering a lot of Evertonians would have predicted a scoreline very similar to the one that we saw, it still doesn't make it feel any easier for me. It really, really doesn't. I don't know how any Evertonian, and listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion and thoughts, and I don't know how any Evertonian can leave that ground and think, yeah, we expected that. That is what it is. For me, this club is just absolutely on its arse. Absolutely on its arse from top to bottom. We spoke on Sunday about being in a relegation fight, and I don't think we're only in a relegation fight. I think we're in danger of going down, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, you've got Norwich and Newcastle, who'll probably be 2 of the 3 that go down, but you look at everybody else around there. Brentford beat us on Sunday. You've got Leeds, who got a big win yesterday, and I watched that game and their press, the determination, the desire, they wanted to win that. And then you look at Everton and you think, can we keep up with teams like that? What needs to change at the football club? Well, for me, the answer is everything. If that board have any self-pride, any professional pride, they don't turn up at those offices tomorrow. Denise Barrett-Baxendale, Marcel Brands, Bill Kenwright, the 3 of them just walk away tonight. And I know some people say it's not the board's fault, it's this, that, and the other, but it's gotten to this situation because of the board. We sat here when Rafa Benitez was employed, and we said the danger is, what if we are, in a bad run of form, few results, few games without a win, few games without a decent performance. We go 2-0 down in the derby at Goodison and they start singing his name. Where do we go from there? And some people said, yeah, that's negative though. What happens if we're 2-0 up in the derby? Look what happened tonight. That exact same situation. We're 2-0 down. They're singing his name. They're singing that Merry Christmas fucking chant. And again, it's just soulless. The club at the moment is just soulless. There doesn't seem to be any direction. There doesn't seem to be any ideas. And I do feel there's an element of me that feels slightly bad for Rafa Benitez, because I think he's come into the club at the worst time. I don't think Rafa Benitez comes back from this now, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that the board will sack him, because I think Farhad Moshiri cares more about not being proven wrong than where this football club is at the minute. But I don't think Rafa Benitez will ever come back from that. I really, really don't. I just don't see him coming back from it at all. When the opposition fans in a Merseyside derby are shouting your manager's name and then running on the pitch at the end of the game and taking the piss out of you and this, that and the other, for me, there's just no way back for that. And yet you could say he's had injuries, yet you could say he's had, a minimal transfer budget in the summer and all of that. And that's right, that's absolutely spot on. And that's why an element of me feels a bit sorry for him, because Rafa Benitez couldn't afford to have had these injuries at the start of the season. He couldn't have afforded to have had such a small transfer budget at the start of the season. He couldn't have afforded that, because this was always going to be the case. A bad run of form and a defeat to them lot was always going to turn the majority of Everton fans against the manager. But I said it the other day and I'll say it again. The manager isn't the biggest of our problems today. The 3 of those board members watched that game and will probably have left the stadium thinking, do you know what? It's all right, because we were all right for 10 or 15 minutes. We controlled the game for 10 or 15 minutes. We saw both sides of Everton today. I said yesterday on the preview, we've got to turn the emotion and the frustration from, that the fans have got within them into positive attitude with fight, desire, passion. And we saw a bit of fight, desire and passion for the last 10 minutes of the first half. We got the goal to get back into it. We showed it. We worked hard. I thought Solomon Rondon had his best game in an Everton shirt, and some people won't like hearing that. And some people won't like hearing me say that the game changed when Solomon Rondon went off, because he was holding the ball up. Yes, he didn't have any chances. He didn't score, he didn't create, but he was holding the ball up. He was causing a nuisance to that Liverpool back line. He was allowing Damari Gray, Richarlison and Andros Townsend to get into the game. And the manager takes him off. And okay, he took him off because he was injured, or he needed to come off, whatever it was. But he puts Anthony Gordon on. Now that for me, tactically again, is just inept. It's simply inept. If you're going to put Anthony Gordon on, you put him on for one of the wingers. You put him on, for either Richarlison, Gray or Townsend. You don't put him on. And people say, but he put him on and he put Richarlison up front. Why doesn't that work? Richarlison isn't the same type of striker as Solomon Rondon. He was never going to hold the ball up. He was never going to beat Virgil van Dijk to a physical battle. He's a striker that runs off of players, which is why he was perfect on the wing with somebody like Rondon holding the ball up. Just completely changed the system when we were on top. But yeah, look, again, the start of the game, we just allowed them, to create chances. Within the opening 2 minutes, they'd had 2 chances that, for me, I haven't seen the replay, but for me, they seem like sitters. I think Matip has one from a header, from a corner, and they just seem like absolute sitters. They should have been, in the back of the net all day. And then they go 1-0 up. Again, nobody tracking a runner, nobody tracking a man, defending dreadfully. Henderson puts in the back of the net. Not so long after, they go 2-0 up. Again, Ben Godfrey decides to run down the tunnel for a piss, and Salah runs one-on-one. And this is what frustrates me so much with this Everton team, is we come up against these sides that are clearly very good and have got a lot of players, a lot of good players there. They don't need to be given excuses to create chances. They don't need to be helped, and yet we help them every single game. We make individual mistakes that help them create chances. I actually think I'm not going to say we were the better side because we were 2-0 down, but I actually think we were the side that looked more interested in getting something out of the game. The crowd started to lift itself. But the reality is, Liverpool were probably sitting back thinking, that's fine. You can have all the time, all the possession in the world. You can get forward as much as you like, because we'll just defend it and hit you on the counter. And that's what they did. As I said, Damari Gray gets the goal, 2-1. Crowds lifted. Really good time to get a goal. Just before half-time. Half-time whistle probably was come at the worst time for us. We were on top. They were making mistakes. They were almost looking round as if to say, what's going on? The away fans went home for a bit. Worst away support I've ever witnessed in that period of time. Just completely went quiet. And we were on top. Our fans were on top. And that was that side of Everton that we needed to see for 90 minutes today. The desire, the fight, the commitment. We were chasing players down. Decore had the chance, which was blocked on the line to go 2-2. And then we come out in the second half, and as I said, we're almost continuing that. Rondon goes off. Benitez decides to tactically change the game, which is an awful decision in my opinion. And then Seamus Coleman proves why Seamus Coleman shouldn't be anywhere near this Everton team, if we're being perfectly honest. Listen, I know I'm at the point now where I'm starting to feel sorry for Seamus Coleman, because Seamus is a player that, had he have been replaced 3 or 4 years ago when he should have been replaced, we'd have probably been looking on thinking, remember Seamus Coleman, he was great and tenacious, he cared, he used to get forward, he used to win the ball back, he used to score goals, he cared. Now, I think Seamus Coleman's in danger of leaving Everton and people going, he was a fucking shambles for the last 3 years at the club. And that's an element of me. I couldn't watch that Seamus Coleman performance today and be frustrated or upset with him. I watched him and thought he shouldn't be anywhere near this Everton side. He shouldn't be. And Marcel Brands, for me, deserves to be sacked on the decision alone to not sign a right back. And you can say to me all you like, yeah, but he wanted, Denzel Dumfries, and Rafa Benitez said no. Seamus Coleman has needed replacing for 3 or 4 years. Rafa Benitez has been in the job for 4 or 5 months. It's nothing to do with Rafa Benitez saying no to Denzel Dumfries. And in fact, even if Rafa Benitez said no to Denzel Dumfries, which he may or may not have, Marcel Brands should have still said, it's not a no, because we need a new right back, and this fella is very good and one of the only options we've got. So I don't give a fuck if you say no, he's coming in. In fact, the transfer window was open for 7-8 weeks before Rafa Benitez even became the Everton manager. So he should have been fucking in before then. Before the Euros, he should have been in. So I'm not taking any of this nonsense that, Benitez didn't want Dumfries. Bollocks. Brands has had 3 or 4 years to replace Seamus Coleman, and he hasn't. He's failed year in, year out. He's failed. Keyword there, failed. Bill Kenwright, failed. Denise Barrett-Baxendale, failed. And they've failed Rafa Benitez because they've given him a job at a time at the football club where he's had his hands tied behind his back. And tactically, as I said, he's not indefensible, and I think that there's a lot of reasons as to why he probably won't make it back now from that. He probably won't make it back. The right decision probably is to sack him, because this is only going to get worse. Ultimately, we're in a relegation battle. The fans have all turned against the manager. Our biggest rivals are singing his name because he used to manage them, and we've just had our heaviest derby defeat at Goodison Park in all time. Just move him on now. Move him on. But Farhad Moshiri, if you're watching, you're definitely not watching, because why would you be watching me? You're probably sitting there watching Mr. Bean or something at home. But Farhad Moshiri, if you're watching, If you're going to move Rafa Benitez on, move Bill Kenwright, Denise Barrett-Baxendale and Marcel Brands on tonight. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I don't care. They don't deserve to be running our football club. Move the 3 of them on now. Change is needed. This game needs to be a catalyst for change. It needs to be a catalyst for change, this. Because that was embarrassing. They weren't even that great. They were singing themselves. We hardly touched the ball. They weren't even that great. We were putting the pressure on them. They were worrying. And yet we still made it easy for them. Obviously, they go and get a 4th goal as well, which Pickford's beating his near post, which is poor from Jordan Pickford. But at that game, it was game, set and match. And, you know, when you're 2-1 down in a derby and you're on top, and people will say, how were we on top? We were on top. We were, because they were making mistakes. Yes, they always were a threat. Of course they are. They're one of the best teams in the league. Of course, they'll always be a threat. But we were the team that were, you know, trying to make something happen. The fans were on board. Their fans had shut up. The players were looking a little bit shaky. No other team in the league goes and makes a mistake like that to allow the opposition team to just get back in the game. And as soon as it went 3-1, that was it. It was done. I didn't leave the stadium. But to anybody that did leave the stadium, they left because they knew it was game over. The players may as well have left the stadium at 3-1 because there was no way that we were getting back into that game from that point. No way. Done and dusted. And that's such a disappointment considering it could have been. I said to my dad at half time, this is going to go one or two ways. It's going to end 2-2 or it's going to end 4 or 5-1. And that depends on Everton. And again, they didn't score a worldie. They didn't score one from 40 yards. Salah didn't take on 4 or 5 players and slot one. It wasn't a goal that you were sitting there going, do you know what? They're just so much better than us. It was another individual mistake. Another individual mistake. Bad defending. Midfield was all over the gaff. I don't know why he didn't start with 3 in the midfield, to be perfectly honest with you. Baffling why he didn't start with 3 in the midfield. But, yeah, I don't know where to go. It's embarrassing. It's upsetting. It's frustrating. And it's not my football club at the end of the day. That's not my football club. You know, I've known Everton to lose derbies. I've known Everton to be beaten by better Liverpool teams, worse Liverpool teams. Never really known Everton to have, you know, turn up and for the majority of the game just make mistakes like that and overall just walk around and not really put the fight in, not really put the effort in. I think the manager's lost the players. He certainly lost the fans. And once you get, you know, whether there's, you know, factors that go in his favour or reasons as to why that's the case, it doesn't matter. There's no way back from that point. But he's not the only one to blame today. And you know what? I think tactically he probably got it wrong, but how can you blame Rafa Benitez for Seamus Coleman, a 30-odd-year-old experienced right-back, not thinking, do you know what, I'm just going to put this ball in the stands here, trying to shuffle and trying to beat off and trying to pocket, you know, one of the most informed forwards in world football. Why isn't he just lashing down in the stands? And then when Salah gets the ball, why isn't he chopping him down? Take the red card, take the sending off, take the 10 men. You know full well that if that lad gets one-on-one, he's scoring, because that's what he does. But yeah, I want to mention Paul Tierney as well. Because, listen, before anybody says anything in the comments or on Twitter, this isn't the reason we lost. Paul Tierney isn't the reason we lost. He's not the reason the club are in a shit show as what they are at the moment. He's not the reason as to why we're as bad as we are. However, that was the worst refereeing performance that it has ever been in Premier League history, without a shadow of a doubt. There has not been a worse performance from a referee in Premier League history ever. He booked every Everton player at every opportunity. He allowed, I don't know who it was, but he allowed a Liverpool player to hack Anthony Gordon down when he was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Last man, he allowed that to happen with no card, with no red card, with no VAR check. He booked Andros Townsend for being fouled. He booked Damari Gray for being fouled. It took him about fucking 3 years to book Thiago, even though he did nothing but kick people all game. Sadio Mane was kicking people, never bothered booking him. He was awful. He may as well have had a red shirt on today, and it's not the reason we lost, but I said it yesterday. Jurgen Klopp will have been in the FA's ear all week. All week. Remember when that, you know, Jordan Pickford made that tackle on Virgil van Dijk? Remember the last derby? Remember this? Remember that? And Tierney has shit himself today. He should be embarrassed. He should be absolutely embarrassed. He has shit himself. He should either be embarrassed or dead happy because he's been paid off. One of the two. It's the worst refereeing performance I've ever seen. And no, it doesn't change the result. And I'm not saying it had he have been better, you know, we would have won the game. But, you know, what are you meant to do when you're playing against 12 men? Seriously, what are you meant to do? But look, yeah, as I said, considering it was expected by a lot, it's just, you can never prepare yourself for that. You know, we could have sat here all we like yesterday, the day before, and said, oh, we're going to get tonked 4-1, 5-1, it's going to be awful, it's going to be embarrassing. But when you sat there in the fucking freezing cold at Goodison, and it's happening in front of your eyes, and them lot are singing and shouting, and people are running on the pitch, and this, that, and the other, I personally, listen, some people might be different. Personally, I can't just go, yeah, I expected this. So, you know, some people, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying, you know, you're any less of a fan. Some people might be going home and just sitting down and watching the telly going, yeah, I expected that. I can't do it. That's not my football club. And if that is my football club, then what's the point anymore? What's the point? You know, that isn't, by the way, that isn't as different of a side that beat them 2-0 at Anfield in February. Okay, we're missing a certain player that shall not be named, and James Rodriguez. And listen, James Rodriguez would probably no doubt be an improvement on this Everton team. I don't buy into the fact that if James Rodriguez was here, we'd be challenging for the top 4, because we wouldn't, because he'd probably have been injured for the majority of the games, but he would have improved us, I get that. The fella who shall not be named, what wouldn't make much of a difference. Dominic Calvert-Lewin started on the bench in February. Yes, okay, he wasn't on the bench to come on, but he only come on the last 20 minutes in that game. It wasn't that dissimilar to the team that beat them at Anfield. And that wasn't that dissimilar to the Liverpool team that, you know, obviously were beaten at Anfield. But they are light years ahead of us, of course they are. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying we're at the same level, we're not. But I just, again, what's the point? What is the point? We've got Arsenal on Monday. That'll be another hammering. And as I said, you know, I just, at the moment, usually, you in situations like this, you look back and you think, yeah, but there's, you know, easily 3 or 4 other teams that are much worse than us here, so we'll be all right. You know, there's 3 or 4 other teams that are dreadful, we'll be all right. I can't say that at the minute. I can't. I don't know whether there is 3 or 4 teams that are worse than us. There's probably 2 in Norwich and Newcastle. Is there a third? I don't know. I certainly think Everton are in the mix for one of those, you know, for that other place. And if that's not enough to make changes at the football club, then I don't know what is. But yeah, there you go. Look, that's my instant match reaction. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'll have the player ratings up shortly. But I am going to go down and have a drink because my throat's killing. And to be quite honest, I don't want to speak to anybody for the next 3 weeks. But look, there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. We'll see you after. Nice one. Ta-ra.